Good morning, everyone. Magandang umaga. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the Philippines. Welcome to the Philippines. Yes, I know everyone was partying last night. One of the benefits of having Asia 21 in the Philippines. Every night will be great. But today, even the mornings and the afternoons will also be wonderful. No, the organizers, of course, have set a very jam-packed day for everyone. But these are topics, I think, which are quite important to our times. I initially wanted to give you my standard welcome to the Philippines speech. Because, you know, we get to talk in front of a lot of international groups. And I do have a standard welcome to the Philippines speech. I'm not going to give that today. It ends with, the best thing about the Philippines are the Filipinos. So let me just end it right away and say, that's the best thing about our country, okay? Instead, in Asia 21 fashion, I'm just going to share with you some thoughts about leading in turbulent times. I think this is something we're all experiencing, whether we're in politics, in business, in the academe, in civil society. We're all experiencing this, or in the military, you know. We're experiencing this right now, and it's not unique to one country. It's happening all over the world. And maybe some of our speakers later will tell us why. Why? Is it because the Jupiter aligned with Mars or something? No, something must be up with the world, which is why we're all experiencing this turbulence. But today I'd like to share with you my experience here in the Philippines. But before that, just some context. I was actually part of Batch Zero. I think it was Batch Zero here in Asia 21, because before the Korea first batch, we met in Hong Kong. And there was a small group of us here. And there were two of us from the Philippines who were part of that small group. So I think it's technically batch -1 or batch 0, no? By the way, one of the individuals who was in that batch was at that time, I think, a councilman of LA. That's Eric Garcetti. And lately, I've been seeing, oh, he's like, you know, he might be president of the US one day. You know, I was like, oh, I know that guy. He was singing karaoke with me in Hong Kong. So who knows? Maybe the person beside you will be a leader of their country or the free world one day. Just remember what song they sang, no? So when you meet them again years later, you can say, "You sang my way," Frank Sinatra. Tom is right. That was 3 years ago. At that time, I was chosen to be part of Asia 21 because of my work with the youth. I was heading the Youth Commission here in the Philippines from 2003 to 2006. After that, I shifted careers. I left government. I was in social enterprise, and I met a number of the fellow Filipinos here in my work in social enterprise. And I thought I was done with government. So we ran a social enterprise. It was called Happy Pinoy. And it worked with microfinance institutions and a lot of civil society groups, as well as connecting our small village stores to larger markets, no, larger companies. And I was quite happy doing that work. But in 2012, there were a few people who said, you know, you might want to try politics. And I went to the dark side, no? Went from the NGO world to government. And I shifted, changed hats. Kept the same friends, but changed hats. And I've been in the Senate since 2013. Now, thank you. Thank you, sir. Salamat. Thank you. 2013 and 2016 are very different times. No? I don't know what happened to the world from 2013 to 2016, but things really changed. Simply put, I ran as part of the administration. Now I'm in the opposition. And in the Philippines these days, much like the world, we are experiencing some difficult times. No? Of course, age-old problems like poverty, lack of education, that's still there. I mean, that has never really left. I would say that there have been gains through the years, definitely, but largely, if you look at the Philippines, we experience quite a high economic growth, but our level of inequality is still largely in the 17 to 23% range, which is still quite high for a country doing 6-7% growth year on year. So one of the things we're experiencing here is that our country is growing economically, but our inequality is largely the same. And that has created a lot of unrest in specific areas, online, with a lot of sectoral organizations. It creates a lot of unrest. Next slide, please. We have a lot of violence these days, no? More than in the previous years. Another vice mayor in the north was killed yesterday. And this is something our country has been going through. And we're still trying to find solutions, no? We've had local government leaders getting shot. We've had, of course, you all know the news about our drug war, where a number of suspects have been killed. Recently, we've also had 3 or 4 priests getting killed. And if you know the Philippines, that is unthinkable, where you would have priests and religious people getting shot in their churches. No? Other problems we have, of course, is inflation. And this is largely what I've been focusing on in the Senate, which is we're experiencing a 9-year high in inflation. And for the people here in BGC, that might still be an annoyance. But if you go to the provinces, if you go to the poorer areas, that could mean a meal that the family skips. So our inflation these days, our high price of gas and oil and all of these things, they're putting a lot of social pressure. And we're going through this. No? We're all going through this. It's not as if countries haven't had these types of challenges in the past. We all go through these challenges. But I guess because of fake news, because of social media, because of a lot of these advancements in technology, it just seems so much more in your face, no? And in the same sense that, you know, you're on the front lines day to day, it can really get very difficult. And for leaders like all of us here, it's very easy to lose your way. Now, let me just quickly talk about fake news. Now, fake news is a problem all over the world. Yes, my first troll in 2013, I had a troll actually in 2013. And that person, individual, we haven't identified who the person is, would every day change my Wikipedia page and say that Senator Benigno is a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. Okay? And we had a great time about that. No? So somebody would wake up every day and actually say that I was a Ninja Turtle. Not bad, not bad. They would also say that Senator Bambi, no, they changed my name, Bambi Aquino, invented twerking in the Philippines. Okay, who knows? No, who knows? But that was 2013. No? Things got more vicious as the years went by. And Colonel Herrera is here. He was actually with me when this started to happen. A year ago, I was actually accused of having staged one of the terrorist sieges in one of the cities in the south. And that was done by our Department of Justice Secretary. So there was fake news that came out, and he basically said, yeah, you know, Senator Aquino was one of these individuals. He's not Department of Justice Secretary anymore, though. He was fired after a year. But that was how serious it got. Colonel Herrera can tell you the story later. But can you imagine going from being called the Ninja Turtle and having fun with it to actually being accused of being a terrorist? And if you look at how light years apart this is, you can also try to imagine where the world has also revolved in that time. So when you have all of these fake news, when you have all of these social pressures on you, apart from the usual pressures of being a politician and being a public servant, now, of course, you know, with everyone having a camera, just going to the mall is already a challenge, no? I still like to go to the mall with my kid and my wife. And of course, you know, you can ask any of the politicians here, when someone wants to take a picture, you know, it's okay, you know, it's fun. It's like, you know, not a problem at all. But one time I was shopping in Uniqlo and trying to buy a new pair of pants. And one of the attendants suddenly said, he said it in Tagalog, but I'll say it in English. He said, Senator Bam has a waistline of 36 inches. Senator Bam has a waistline of 36 inches, no? So, you know, these days it gets hard, no? That's life. You know, I was like, yeah, thanks for revealing that, right? So you have these, all these things happening on a day-to-day, all of the pressures happening, and being in the opposition is also very difficult here in the Philippines. Now, sometimes being a lone voice in the Senate, or you're very few in the Senate talking about issues which you think are important to the people. What is the best way to go forward? And this is something that we've done. And again, this is just what works for us. And this is how we've been able to really center ourselves amidst all of the pressures and all of the challenges that have been happening in our country and possibly in your countries as well. What we've done since April of this year is to go back to the people. To go back. And consistently, and we've been doing this more and more this year than ever before, is we go back to poor communities, we go back to our public markets, we go to our rural poor areas where there are farmers and fishermen, we go to the urban poor areas where you're talking to informal settlers who are at threat of being thrown away from their homes. You talk to senior citizens who suddenly their pensions aren't enough to help them live. You talk to students who are doing their best just to be able to finish college. And we've been doing this consistently. We go back to people and we ask them, what's really important for you? And the best thing about going back to the people and trying to connect again with your countrymen is you strip away all of the artifice that goes with being a leader in 2018 or in this day and age. The people that I talk to, our countrymen, they probably are supporters of the administration. They might be supporters of the opposition. To be honest, it doesn't matter. When they're talking about how in their day-to-day, they're doing their best to keep their jobs, to be able to earn a little bit more from their businesses, to not have to go abroad to earn just so that their families here can eat. You know, you're talking to them person to person. And I guess with all of the technologies happening, all of the different things happening in the world, the art of talking face-to-face and heart-to-heart is sometimes lost on us. No? And this is what we do. More than really a political exercise, it's actually for us, no? For us. It's for my team to really just be able to connect again. The benefit of being able to talk to people again and really heart-to-heart and spend the time in these communities is that when we're there in the Senate, and, you know, of course, you're in your rostrum and talking to everyone, you're on national TV. The place where your issues come from, the place where your courage comes from, is real, no? And I always tell them, you know, when I talk about lowering the price of oil in the Philippines, lowering the price of diesel and gasoline, pushing for access to education, I remember all of their faces. And that's clear in my mind when I'm giving these speeches in the Senate because they're why you're there, no? I'll teach you a Filipino word. It's called, okay, can everyone say this? Hugot. Hugot. Okay, hugot is basically, how do I explain hugot, Ching? Hugot is when you say, this is my hugot, this is where I'm coming from, no? This is where, hugot is literally to pull something out of the ground or to pull something out, no? So when people say, this is my hugot, it means this is where I'm coming from. This is where maybe it's usually the gut. It's not even the heart, no, Arnel, no? It's the gut. This is my hugot. So I tell them, you know, in Tagalog, of course, no? When I'm there in the Senate, talking about these issues, which sometimes no one is really caring much about, or sometimes a lot of people care about, you know, I remember all of your faces, and I remember all of your stories, and that's my hugot. That's where I'm coming from. And it keeps it real. And I guess in these days of turbulent times, fake news, just being a leader without all of these turbulent times is difficult in itself. Now, in 2005, when we had that Batch Zero Asia Society, everyone was talking about the difficulties. I think it's even more difficult now with how things have transpired. But we can't forget that hugot. We can't forget why we're here. We can't forget where we're coming from. And I think at the end of the day, whatever political persuasion you are, whatever field you're in, if you have that to anchor you, you won't get lost in these turbulent times. Now, I'd just like to share with you a quick story from a education caravan we had the other day in, oh my gosh, I'm in so many provinces every day. This is Laguna. We were in Laguna, in San Pablo. Thank you. Thank you. Arnel, who's from San Pablo, no? From Batangas, okay. In San Pablo, Laguna. And we were talking in a local university and college there. I'm sorry, I'm in practically a different province every day. You know, we have our elections in May, so it's a time for us politicians to go around, no? And we were having an education forum similar to what you saw there. And we had two sharers. No? One of the bills that I was able to sponsor last year was our bill to make our state universities and colleges and some local universities and colleges free. No? And that was a pretty big reform. I know some of your countries have that and some of your other countries are still aspiring for that. But these days, if you go to a government-run university or college, you will not pay a single peso to the government. And that's new. That was passed only in 2017. So we went there to this local university and college, and we had two sharers. Julius was our second sharer. And in that local university in San Pablo, Laguna, they were not paying anything anymore. They used to pay almost $100 per semester. And for families in that area, that was already huge, no? So this is just maybe support of less than $200 per year. But that meant a number of them not dropping out. No? That meant a number of them actually staying in school and being able to graduate. And this kid, Julius, got everyone to cry. Okay, he got everyone to cry. And why was everyone crying? He was also crying. I was holding back a tear. But what did he say? You know, he said, you know, I'm in my fourth year, IT, and people here may not know this, but I used to be the vendor selling the milk candies outside of the school. No? He said, I used to be the vendor selling the milk candies outside of the school. And now that tuition is more accessible, I can actually finish college. Now, what got people to cry was, it started out that a girl who was in the audience, now another student, suddenly said, when he revealed that he was the vendor, she suddenly said, ikaw pala yun, which is, oh, that's you. She goes like that. And then everyone started to realize that he was that vendor. And everyone started to cry in the audience. So you had like 200 of these students. And then he goes, actually, all of you helped me. Because when you would buy my milk candy, that was enough for me to get to first year and second year here in college. And it was such a very touching moment, no? And, you know, I was telling them, you know, this Julius here, who's graduating in a few months, he'll be able to get a better life because he'll be graduating from IT and almost sure he'll be able to get a job in Laguna. Laguna is a very progressive province in the Philippines. Lots of businesses that are forming there. And his journey, of course, initially it was for the free college law, but I was saying even before the free college law, everybody here actually helped him. Because every day that you would buy his milk candy, every day that you would help him with that little business, got him to get here and got him to finish college. And he was saying, actually, I'd like to thank everyone because the word he used was suki, which is like a regular customer. No? All of you here were my regular customers. A lot of that reality, no? I guess we're in the day and age of reality TV, but that reality I think is sometimes lost. And what we want to do, what we try to do in our office, is just to keep it real, no? Why are you here? Who are the people you're trying to serve? What are you really fighting for? And our experience is that even in the most turbulent times, people ask me, Senator, how can you be so calm? No, I mean, you're getting bashed every day. Things happen left and right. How can you be so calm? It's because at the end of the day, you know, I go back and you have that anchor. And my only small suggestion to everyone here, and all of you here are leaders, of course, is we can't lose that. Because once we lose that, the turbulent times will take us left and right, up and down. We'll, you know, our boats will capsize. But if we are centered and anchored on, you know, our real purpose here, I think we won't lose our way. So let me end there. Let me thank the organizers for inviting me. Welcome to the Philippines again. And just to go back to the first line, the best thing about the Philippines are the Filipinos. Thank you so much. Good morning to everyone.